In terms of colorectal cancer screening, you are all aware of the baseline studies, the studies which really put colorectal cancer screening on the globe. There were first of all 3 randomized controlled trials prospectively looking at the impact of guaiac FOBT screening, published a long time ago, and they showed on average, as finally reviewed by a paper by Hewitson and colleagues in the Cochrane Library, that there was repeated FOBT screening led to an average 16% reduction in colorectal cancer mortality. This was the proof of principle that early cancer detection can reduce mortality. And then almost at the same time, there was another study, the National Polyp study, which was a follow-up of adenoma patients after endoscopic treatment. It showed a strong reduction in incidence of colorectal cancers after the baseline colonoscopy, and it was the proof of principle that adenoma removal prevents cancer. In fact, you may have seen not so long ago, earlier this year, a follow-up of that National Polyp study, a beautiful publication from Ann Sauber in the New England Journal of Medicine, where she now reported on the 20-year follow-up of this same study. And the message here, as depicted in this main graph, is that subjects who at baseline colonoscopy were not diagnosed with any adenomas, over time, you see the red line, had a very low chance of dying from colorectal cancer, less than 0.2% in 20 years. However, subjects who at baseline were treated for colorectal adenomas and were then followed, also in the first 10 years had the same very low chance of dying due to colorectal cancer, and only after 10 years did it slowly go up. Now, this was not a randomized trial with a non-intervention arm as the guaiac trials, but the authors compared it to a historical database, a cohort. And in that based on that cohort, the expected mortality due to colorectal cancer was approximately twice as high as observed in the adenoma patients. So those were the baseline studies, and we are very lucky because since for then, in terms of prospective randomized trials looking at incidence and mortality, it stayed quiet for a very long time. There were studies ongoing, but it took a long time to do them and to finalize their reports. But over the past 3 years, we have now seen 4 prospective randomized controlled trials on the impact of baseline, usually single sigmoidoscopy screening, on long-term incidence for colorectal cancer and mortality of colorectal cancer. And you see them summarized here in this somewhat busy table, but I would draw your attention in particular to the 2 columns to the right, which show respectively the reduction in incidence and the reduction in mortality.